Hello everyone, welcome back. We are here with the last educational meeting and we are with Caris Vujcec. Hello Caris.
Ciao.
Creator of Pepper Project and Pepper Ricochet. Thank you for being again with us.
A pleasure. Thank you, Chiara.
And we are going to talk about a really important aspect of create a video series or a film or a short form, and the pitch. It's the pitch. My first question is, what's a pitch? And when it is useful, when it makes sense to have a pitch.
So, I know you want me to keep it simple,
Yes.
right? So, I think the easiest way to describe a pitch, I think it has to include these three things. You creatively describe your story, tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
You describe why it needs to be told, and you include why it needs to be told by you. I think those are three, that's the most basic way I can break down what I think a pitch should include at least.
Mm-hmm. And when it makes sense to have a pitch.
I think you should, for every story that you create, I think you should be ready to have a pitch. If you plan on collaborating, selling it, producing it, you have to know in a structured way, not a rigid way, but a structured way, what you're doing and why you're telling the story.
That makes really sense.
Yeah.
And which are the aspects that the creator has to keep in mind for a good pitch?
Again, narrowing it down, I think maybe 4 or 5 things.
4 or 5 things.
A clear, concise log line which describes the story, characters, and the conflict. Okay? But simple, not 5 sentences, 1 sentence, maybe 300 words, 200 to 300 words.
Okay.
Language that provokes images, that's descriptive, that is creates some sort of imagination, gets the imagination going of whoever the audience is, and gets them hooked into maybe, okay, this is interesting, what is this, where is this going? So that's the easiest way kind of for your log line. A pitch should have some sort of, or not some sort of, a pitch should have a structure or format of what the show is. So how long is it? How long are the episodes? How long is the season? What's the direction of it? What does it look like? It should include tone. Is this a blazing Western with tumbleweed across the plains? Is this something, this galactic experience with Superman flying in the sky or something, and you have stars in the background? What is the tone? What is the not just the genre, but what does it look like? And I would say try to use language in these things that sparks the imagination of the audience, so that you're creatively describing something, you can get excited about it, but you want to draw them in. So I've recently read a lot of pitches. There was a pitch competition, and I was reading some of the log lines, and they were kind of boring. There were some really good ones, and there were some ones that just didn't at all. I have to care about it. I have to maybe see it. I have to see part of it. Couple other things. You should have the characters, of course, of who the story is about, main character, the other characters, and just a little bit about their storylines. It should include the main conflict. Without conflict, for any genre, whether it's comedy, drama, horror, thriller, sci-fi, there has to be conflict or we have no story, right? And there has to be conflict so we establish some point of caring about the character and what they must overcome. And then I'd say the last thing is the trajectory of it. Where do you see it going, so that you can kind of give the executive or whoever the audience is an idea of maybe the future of the story, or that it has a life. It's just not like 3 or 4 episodes. You have an idea of the direction of it.
It's too many things, and I think maybe the most common mistake can be to try to put everything. So my question is, how long has to be the perfect pitch?
Well, this is something that type of pitch is more like a conversation. If you're talking about a log line pitch, then like I said, maybe you're 200 to 300 words of your story, the conflict, the character, those 3 things, right? These are things that if you're having a conversation, if you're pitching an executive, if you're pitching a producer, if you're pitching someone, your friend who just won the lottery and has $100,000 and wants to give $50,000 away to you, you have to try to convince them why. You have to have I think, some idea of all those things that I mentioned, or
Mhm.
else why would they give you your money? Why would anyone give you money? You know,
Mhm.
you have to kind of know what you're going to do with it, or at least promise, you know, have some idea that you
Some
think.
idea.
Yeah.
At least some.
Something.
And in your opinion, which are the best ways to prepare yourself to pitch? Because it's not something that is natural to do. You have to learn how to pitch, right?
I don't know if you have to learn. I think that inherently we, you know, we had touched on this when we were chatting before. I think you grew up pitching. I think we pitch our whole lives. I think we pitch every day. If you're going out to a restaurant and you want to convince your friend to go to the pizza pasta place or the place that serves surf and turf, you're going to try to present the argument for which way to go in the restaurant. So you might say this one has a great view. The waiter is
You have to tease them.
polite, right? They have a great wine list. I like their menu. The other one has other advantages. You know, I like where it's situated. It's easy to get to. You never have to wait for a table. So right there, when you start to convince someone of something that you believe in and why it should be your way, sort of, or your idea, you present a pitch. We just don't consider it a pitch. We used to probably pitch our parents all the time. Why should they let you take the car out on Friday night to go to the football game? So you give them a whole list of reasons. I got an A in chemistry. You told me that if I got an A, I could take the car. The football field is close. I'm going to be traveling with safe friends. I'll be home at 11. You know, these are all kind of things that we used to do that we always do. And it's the same thing about your story, except it's it has to have some structure, like we talked about, and you have to know where you're going and why you're doing it, and that you should be the one telling the story.
This one is the most important one, maybe.
I think so, because it's easy for a person with money or an executive or some, you know, big-wig person in a corporation to say, oh, I like your idea. Thank you very much. I'm going to get so-and-so to write it so he has more contacts and he can tell your story. And you, as the author, that's what I like about Cicely Webfest, the translation of creator is author. You own that material. You own that story in your heart, in your soul, in your mind. Why are you the only one that's able to tell this story? What makes it, what's your personal connection? And I think a lot of pitches miss this. I was recently watching another pitch competition, and I was really wanting the creators to draw me in by telling me what their personal connection to the material is. Is it an experience they had when they were a child? Is it a recurring nightmare that they have? Is it something that they something that didn't happen for them that they can't let go of? Why is your connection to this material very important? Because that way you can maintain the authorship or ownership of being able to be the voice of the story. Otherwise, you could be replaced.
And one wants it. But are there some really specific tips you can give to an author for making a good pitch?
You know, I think that, myself included, we get jammed up and it feels crippling. You know, you're in front of someone important, whether you're at a web festival or whether you have a private meeting with somebody. It becomes very important. It becomes life and death, and it becomes, and you get stuck and you don't know what to say and you can't follow your notes. And, you know, Shonda Rhimes in Masterclass, Shonda Rhimes, the creator of Grey's Anatomy and other shows, she said that when she pitched, she was pitching the network for Grey's Anatomy, she had to start over 3 times, and she was sweating profusely. She was soaking wet because she was so nervous. But she had very specific notes, and she was very clear on her characters, the storylines, why it was important, why she was telling the story. So she kept kind of going back to what her preparation was and grounding herself, and that's what helped her to get through it. In terms of preparing, I would, you know, take a few suggestions from the points that I listed.
Yes.
I would write about it from your heart of where the story is coming from your head to make sure you're using good language and creative and something that is evocative. I practice it. I practice it with your friends. And I just also remember that it can be a conversation, because you hope that they're going to ask you some questions. And you're going to leave them with some questions as well. I wouldn't give everything away. I wouldn't tell the ending of the story. I'd leave some of it to mystery so that it leaves them wondering. And I also wouldn't tell them every single storyline and every place to turn, left, right, left, right. That can make an executive or a producer very nervous because it may seem as though you're so attached and so rigid connected to where you're going that they don't feel they have maybe a potential creative input in it. And sometimes people don't like that. They want to know that they may offer a suggestion and you may be able to think about it. Not that they're going to try to steer your story in a different way. But I think from what I've heard from a lot of friends in LA and other people in the industry is that, you know, just remain open to some, not completely changing everything because then it's not your story, but remaining open to an idea or a discussion about something so that you put them at ease. You let them know that you are a creator that can be, that can collaborate and can listen to ideas and perhaps incorporate.
I agree. I have a last question.
Okay.
And it's kind of a little challenge.
Aye.
Would you like to pitch a 30-second pitch about pitching? So why I, as a creator, I have to pitch? You have to convince me with a pitch.
Do you want to tell your story, Chiara?
No, I don't.
No. I'm asking you. So you're the creator.
Yes, I'm the creator.
Okay, so my question to you is, do you want to tell your story?
Yes.
All right, so you need a pitch to tell your story. So in order to get your story funded, sold, distributed, you have to know why, like we started with, what the story is, why the story is important to be told, and why you should be telling it. That's a pitch for a pitch.
That's a pitch for a pitch. Thank you so much, Caris. It was amazing talking with you. And thank you so much for watching this last educational meeting. Goodbye from Ustica.
Ciao. Thank you so much, Chiara.
Thank you.